The price of freedom is death. We're coming to get our check.
Black first, my brothers and my sisters. Welcome to the Afro Elite YouTube channel. I'm your host, Afro Elite. And before we get started, because tonight is going to be very important that you guys watch the whole entire way through. But before we get started, please make sure that you guys are subscribed to the channel. Hit that like button on your way in. Hit that notification button. Leave a comment. Say something in the chat room. Tonight's going to be jam-packed. Okay, I got a lot of clips and all that stuff to talk about. We got a whole bunch. All right. Let me make sure the links have gotten out, because a lot of people are saying, okay, people are starting to pile in. That's good. I see you. Our brother Cole Chief, he was there with us, present at the one of the city halls. So since we got so much to cover, I'm just going to kind of get started. All right. It's important because we're going to cover a lot of stuff. So if you guys do show up late or have to leave early, it's important that you circle back to watch the entire thing, because the entire thing is going to be very jam-packed with information, very, very loaded. All right. So there was 2 city hall meetings. One specifically, this was Tuesday, about the immigrants and immigration and the refugee rights and all of that. And then another one that's just general that happened Wednesday. So it was Tuesday morning and Wednesday. What we're going to do, and normally I try to have everything in chronological order, but what we're going to do is we're going to start with Wednesday, because Tuesday it was focused on the immigration issue that's going on in Chicago. It was focused on that. And then Wednesday, it was jam-packed with a whole bunch of Pakistanis. It was so jam-packed with a bunch of Pakistanis. I was supposed to speak. When you get up there, you have to sign, and I got the proof right here. This is the thing you got to sign to speak. So I got there early enough to sign it. I'm in this super long line to speak. We're waiting. I had a conversation with somebody that was a little interesting, and I'm going to talk to you about that, because this is important to know too, right? But really what happened is Wednesday morning, the Pakistanis strong-armed the entire conversation because they wanted the city of Chicago to agree to ordinance or something about a ceasefire. So essentially what they wanted is that they wanted the city of Chicago to agree to a ceasefire, and that could possibly persuade Joe Biden to order a ceasefire between Israel and Pakistan, which I'm gonna be very I'm gonna keep my opinions to myself on that one, but that's what they were doing. But let me show you all literally how jam-packed the entire thing was. Let me show you. Okay. Hold on. No, that's them arguing. I'm gonna show you that. It was Pakistanis. Look at this. Look at this. Hold on. Where is it? Because I got a couple of clips up here. Oh, right here. Am I saying Pakistanis? I mean Palestinians. Oh, yeah, Palestine. That's what I meant. Okay. It's Palestine. Thank you. Do y'all just have that visual as I walk through? And that's only one side, not to mention, brothers and sisters, upstairs. It was jammed. It was maxed in capacity upstairs on the speaking level, on the top level above that, and downstairs. They went out there just completely strong armed the whole thing. I know I said the thing wrong. It was Palestinians. It wasn't Pakistanis. I made that mistake. But they strong armed the whole thing. So we just sitting up there waiting. It actually looked, to be very honest, it looked like, because there were some people from the other side too, and it looked like they was about to get into some fights. Let me show you this. So you see this. Let me take it back. But there's one guy, and he's in the small hat community. We're just going to say that. And then there was another guy, and he's from the Palestinian community. So they kind of going back and forth. Look at this.
Palestine will be free. Palestine will be free. Ceasefire now. Fuck Israel. Ceasefire now. Ceasefire now. Ceasefire now. Ceasefire now. Ceasefire now.
Now, I stopped it right there for a reason, because I got more footage, but I stopped it right there because I don't want to show it on YouTube. But I mean, they were sticking their middle fingers at each other. They was like, F you, F you. I put my phone up because I'm thinking, honestly, that they was about to start fighting. All right. I just want to show you one more time. Like, I mean, both these groups of people, assume that these are their representatives, because both of them are wearing their flags as capes. And I guess that's a new thing now, to wear your flag as a cape, because I'm starting to see that now. The Palestinian dude, he's dressed like the Palestinian Batman over here, talking about Palestine will be free. I'm talking about they was up there, heavy body in there. They was in there, like for real.
Palestine will be free.
So okay. And then you see this other girls and say, I don't want to keep playing. I don't want to keep playing that. Whatever good, I guess they thought it was going to do for them to do all of that, I suppose it did, because Mayor Brandon Johnson cast a tie-breaking vote as Chicago City Council calls for ceasefire in Gaza. So I guess mission accomplished, I guess. But what was interesting about that situation is there was a black man there. We had a respectful conversation because we were just in line. You're at the bottom of City Hall. I guess everybody's trying to live stream and use their phones or whatever. So the phone reception really wasn't working. So we were talking, right, to this dude, this black guy, and the black guy was with Palestine. And there were some other groups of people who were with me, and they were all like, why are you? We're sitting up there advocating for Black Americans in Chicago, and you're up here advocating for Palestine. Why are you doing that? So he was kind of, babbling, talking about, well, Palestine, it's not about Palestine. It's not about your people or my people. It's about justice and global justice. And I'm sitting up there just kind of, we're having a respectful disagreement, because we were disagreeing the whole time. We were having a respectful disagreement. I said to him, first off, what do they think? Because these people are out here wilding. Now, what's interesting is that when we come together, when we allocate and talk about reparations, when it's any more than 3 of us speaking on reparations, next thing you know, the police are all over the place. The police are breaking us up. I'm sitting up there saying or seeing that these people are literally screaming at each other, middle fingers up, all of that. Police just sitting there, not doing nothing. And that's very interesting, because when we talk about reparations, remember in South Carolina, they're all like, hey, you can't talk about reparations. The second we raise our voice, the second we show a sign, the second we do anything, chant or anything like that, the police are sitting up there like, oh, you're causing a public disturbance. You gotta go. You gotta go. You gotta go. We got 100 people in the chat room in the first 10 minutes. I'm gonna need you guys to put 100 emoji. Put the 100 emoji in the chat room. Every time we get 100 subscribers from now going forward, every time we get 100 subscribers, we're gonna fill the chat room up with 100 emojis. That's really gonna help the channel. Trust me, trust me, trust me. So we need a lot of the 100 emojis in the chat room. All right, appreciate you, family. As you all are doing that, I'm asking them, brother. I'm all like, no, and I'm not sitting up there trying to really weigh in on the conflict that's going on. We're not really trying to weigh in, but I'm sitting up there saying the conflict that these people are, having an issue with, it's not in Chicago, nor does Chicago, the city of Chicago, have any dog in this fight. They have nothing to say about it. They can't tell Joe Biden to stop doing what y'all feel Joe Biden is doing or is not doing. They can't make him do something, or they can't tell him not to do something. I appreciate that. We got a lot of 100 emojis in here. I appreciate that. That's really gonna help the algorithm. So we was talking or whatever, and then he said something. We were disagreeing respectfully, but then he said something that really bothered me. It offended me, to be very honest. And it made me mad. And normally I can have a civil disagreement without getting mad, but this right here made me actually mad, because I was like, and he had to agree. I said, for a fact that these people are saying that they're there for world peace and all of this, but they're really not. They're here for Palestine. They're chanting about Palestine. They're not chanting about world peace. If there was a ceasefire in Gaza today, they would not be here tomorrow on black issues. So you're here advocating for their problems. If they get their situation solved, they're going to leave you alone and let you deal with your own problems by yourself. And we've seen this for generations. So you're sitting up there acting like this is some allyship or some coalition, and for a fact it doesn't exist. When you need them, as if it doesn't benefit them, they won't be there for you. And he had to agree with it. He had to agree. Then that's when he said something that was really offensive to me. All right. Then he was all like, yeah, but they kind of woken up the Negroes. I was like, they woken up the Negroes? The Palestinians woken up the Negroes? What are you talking about? This man said, yeah, they woken up the Negroes because they're raising awareness of the global issues and global catastrophes, and their protest and their marching is kind of sparking black people and raising awareness as to what's going on. Now, mind you, from the looks of it, this dude was FBA. From the looks of what the conversation was, I said, first off, brother, and I was being very respectful, but like, first off, brother, I'm gonna be honest, that last comment was pretty disrespectful to our people. You're not gonna sit here and say anybody has, quote unquote, woken us up. We have been, and I told him, I said, we have been the people who have spread the awareness about really world peace. Brothers and sisters, this is the first day of Black History Month. Let me let y'all know something about Black history. Let me let you know. Foundational Black Americans were the first group of people, not politically or not nationally because we're partnering with another nation. I'm talking about based off of morality and ethics. We are the first group of people, period, to do anything about world peace, period. We are the ones who introduced the concept of fighting for another group of people when it had nothing to do with us. I'm talking about from the Vietnam War. I'm talking about from apartheid South Africa. I'm talking about from Ethiopia, and all of the other things. Dr. King was about that. The Black Panthers was about that. Muhammad Ali was about that. Malcolm X was about that. You had a whole bunch of people who are about that. See, that's my thing. I'm all like, hey, you want to say they own something? First off, they're really not on no world peace. They're not on no world peace. They could give a damn about any black person, you being used as a pawn. But my thing, the thing that bothered me is not that you advocating for them, but don't you dare give our credit away as if we're following behind them, as if they've woken something in us up. Listen, there is a reason that everybody is asking for our help. There's a reason for that, because we are the ones who are the really morality of the planet Earth itself. We are the ones who have introduced the concept of global justice, period. Okay, how you know no other group of people were ever on that prior to us? Because when slavery was going on, nobody in the world did anything to end our oppression, to end our slavery and our subjugation. And we're not going to sit up here and act like, well, maybe they didn't know, maybe no, they did. Okay, America was sitting up there trading essentially most of the cotton in the world at one point in time. Not just the cotton, the sugarcane, the tobacco, all of this stuff at one point in time. So they knew, and then even after that, they knew about the Jim Crow. They knew about they knew about how black folk in America were treated, and nobody did anything. You can't go anywhere where anybody else was saying, you know what, we're going to fight or do something on our land because you guys are doing something bad to them. Nobody else has ever done that before us. So that's my thing. You want to tap dance and shuck and jive for them, dude, whatever, dude. But you can do that, but don't you dare try to give our credit away to somebody else and then act as if we are following behind them. Don't do that. That's the crossing the line that I'm not going to tolerate. This is a new day where we're sitting up there not allowing anybody to take our credit. Now, right now, of course, we're focusing on home. Right now, we're focusing on our domestic issues and trying to solve our domestic issues as we should be. But y'all want to talk about how people are waking anybody up? You talking to us? Us? Man, don't do that. Don't cross that line. No. Don't cross that line. Shout out to let me, how do you pronounce this? I don't mean to mispronounce your name. Magul, I believe Magul Mays, I believe is pronounced, for the super chat. Says exactly. The whole world stood and allowed it. Yeah, they did. They did, and they all knew about it. They all knew about it. They let it happen. So we're not going to sit up here. Thank you very much, Cole Chief. I appreciate you. We're not going to sit up here and give our credit away to anybody. Now, that's what happened Wednesday. Eventually, it just got too packed. I was like, you know what? I'm going to get out of here because they wasn't letting anybody up anyway. But Tuesday, that's when the immigration stuff was really starting to pop off. And the situation has gotten a lot worse since the last time we spoke on it. Let me show you guys. Okay, before we do that, hold on. Before we actually get that done, let's be careful. Hold on now. Before we get that done, before I even play this clip. Copyright disclaimer. Under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. All right. Check this out, y'all.
Or building. In recent days, 57 Venezuelans moved into this building on South Essex. That's according to Chris Amator, who says he owns the building.
I just decided, hey, I got the heat on, I got gas, I got electric, water. I go, let's film and we'll worry about the details later.
Over the last 9 days, Amator says he felt moved to offer shelter in his vacant apartments after visiting the city's landing center and a shelter for new arrivals.
I saw 5-year-olds with no jackets on the streets. You know, I was taking my jacket off, putting it on them, and I'm like, tomorrow's going to be negative 14. I'm like, what's going on?
Amator says over the last 9 days, he, his family, and a couple of volunteers have taken in 448 adults and children at 15 of his residential buildings.
First
Some
off,
neighbors,
if we're gonna be very honest, I don't need to necessarily go into all of the details, but to be very transparent with you, that's not legal. You can't just say, you know what, I have a vacant building, I'm just gonna move people into my vacant building. That's not legal. And they wouldn't allow that to be done if it was black people. They wouldn't allow that to be done because certain things, the building, if it's not up to code, it could be unsafe. The residents there have rights too, so they need to sign certain paperwork. It's a paperwork process in order for you to have somebody just live there. This person is not, oh, you're staying there for a couple of days or so. He's having whole families, including children, just move in to his facilities, to his buildings. Now, the laws, not the police are not going to say, hey, sir, you cannot do that. You know that, right? Because then if we really want to open this can of worms, then what happens is that it allows the landlord, he's not really the landlord because it's not like he's asking for rent, but it allows the owner to then abuse the residents because they have nowhere else to go. So then it can get into like sexual exploitation and other things like that. It can get into a whole lot of other legal stuff. This is why paperwork is important. This is why you have laws when it comes to evictions. This is why you can't just say, well, you know what? If you don't do this, I can kick you out tomorrow. This is why landlords have certain laws they have to follow. And then tenants, and these people aren't tenants, and tenants also have things that they have to follow. But when I'm seeing this is just blatantly on the news. This man is doing an interview in the news. I know this. I'm not a landlord or anything, but I know this. And the news is sitting up there acting as if he's doing something righteous. He's like, yeah, they didn't have any jackets, and I just decided I was going to let them in. He's just sitting up there doing that. And the news is all like, oh my God, he's such a hero. Can't believe it. That they're literally acting, send him there, allowing him to do that. And nobody's saying, you know, you're not supposed, and he knows that. If he owns the building, if he rents out buildings, he knows there are certain laws as a landlord that you have to follow, and that you cannot just sit up there and allow this to happen. And you got cameras of kids just walking in the building. Undocumented, they're illegal aliens just walking into a building and staying there illegally. Just a whole bunch of illegal stuff. And ABC News is like, hey, or ABC 7 News is like, hey, he's a hero, don't you think? But let's continue.
Posted video of the building on Essex alleging people were breaking into the building and that the building was not safe.
It's frustrating.
Veronica Cotton is a lifelong South Shore resident and new business owner. But she shares she and her sons were homeless a couple of years ago, and they didn't get the help they needed.
Not saying that it's not right to help them, but it's not right for others not to get help as well.
Amator tells us there was no break-in on Essex. While he acknowledges his impromptu efforts to help new arrivals was not the most organized, today we even saw windows being unboarded. But he says he wanted to do something.
I just decided to submit my free will and do God's plan, and I feel that, you know, I'm just going to keep doing what is right, and wherever the chips fall, that's not up to me.
Amator challenges other building owners to step up during this crisis.
Yep, and just break the law. Just break, just break it. nothing but the law, so might as well just break the law. Now, like I'm telling you, if first off, if the migrants, asylum seekers, whatever you want to call them, if they were black, they would not allow this at all, period. If the building owner, because I can't really call him a landlord, if the building owner was black, they would not allow this. They wouldn't allow this. All right. There's something else we got to get to, and y'all need to stay because this, then here comes the clips and stuff like that. So y'all make sure you guys stay in because we got a lot more to talk about. Yeah, this man talking about God's plan. I just exercise my free will. You mean your white privilege just to break the law? I just exercised my free will. No, you didn't. You broke the law, and you're white, and you feel comfortable saying, well, that's my free will. Just exercise my free will. Okay. So not only is that going on, you got this going on. All right. So this is why it's important for us to understand what's going on in Chicago. So Chicago to extend migrant shelter stay limits over concerns about long-term housing and employment. All right, there we go. It says Chicago will again extend its 60-day limit on shelter stays for asylum seekers. Mayor Brandon Johnson announced just days ahead of a deadline that could have evicted nearly 2,000 migrants. Johnson said Monday, the idea is to give people more time to resettle and find work. Now, remember, I've already documented the fact that, it's documented the fact that these people are already over here working illegally. These people are already over here working illegally, brothers and sisters. But he's allowing them to find more work. Now, I wonder how you can do that without any documentation. But we're going to get to that later. Oh, yes, we will. We're going to get to that later. Says the policy change adds 30 to 60 more days for roughly 1,400 migrants already living in the city's 28 shelters, which include warehouse and park district buildings. Chicago was twice delayed enforcement due to weather. Quote, our plan for temporary emergency shelter was never meant as a long-term housing solution, but we want to give every person in every single family that come to our city enough time to process their work authorization, find housing, start a new life in our great city, Johnson said at the City Hall news conference. Okay, now there's black people literally being evicted as we speak. There's eviction court and all that stuff as we speak. There's black people literally being gentrified as we speak. But he's sitting up there saying that he's going to extend. Now, mind you, when a black person can't pay their rent on time or they're behind and they're going through the eviction process, there's no funds allocated to help them catch up on rent or funds allocated to extend the period of time so they can find another job or they can get more money or anything like that. If you ain't got it, you got to go. That's how Chicago's operating. If you ain't got it, then you got to go. All this, you get more time and 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 more time. That's what they've been given. And these people are not even doing anything. It's not like they're even working. These people aren't even working. They're just freeloaders. So now it goes on to say Chicago and other U.S. cities, including New York and Denver, have put shelter limits in place as they struggle to house and care for a growing population of migrants arriving by bus and plane. Mayors have also pleaded for more federal help. Chicago has had a hard time finding space and also relied on using police stations, airports, and city buses as short-term solutions. Extensions will be based on migrants' original dates to exit the system and will be either 30 or 60 days, city officials said. The earliest notices to leave will now come in mid-March. All right. So they pretty much got the whole month of February and the half a month of March. And that's the earliest. For example, nearly 2,000 people who were set to leave on Thursday, which was today, will set to leave on Thursday, will now get another 60 days, 2 whole months. Will now get another 2 whole, because this month this is the beginning of this month. This is the beginning of this month. So that's 2 whole months. Okay. They will get us another 60 days. All right. City officials said less than half of them have been able to apply for rental assistance to help them live independently. Oh, I mean, they really helping them out, though. They really helping them out. It says any migrants newly entering shelters will get the standard 60 days. There will be exceptions, including for people who are pregnant or ill. Once evicted arrivals have to reapply to stay in shelters. Okay. So it's not like you're evicted and you're done. You're evicted and you have to reapply, which a lot of times they do allow them to reapply. It says more than, look at this number, y'all. Look at this number. More than 35,000. 35,000 migrants have been sent to Chicago since 2022, largely under the direction of Governor Greg Abbott. Roughly 11,500 have been resettled through a state program. So they've been, when they say resettled, that means they're living here with documents and all of that comfortably. Since 2022, when they say resettled, that means that they've been expedited a pathway to citizenship. That's what that means. Okay, resettled through the state program, and about 4,100 have left the shelter system after connecting with friends and family. See, there's a lot of them who are coming up here. They're not like, oh, I need help and it's so bad out there. I just don't know how they're going to survive. It's a lot of them who already have family members over here, and a lot of them who are like, hey, Chicago is the new plug. Come up here, and as long as you make it up here, you can stay with us and you're going to be straight. And this has been going on for a long, long time, brothers and sisters. This has been going on for a long time. Okay, it hasn't just started in 2022. Now, it continues to say the city's shelter limits have been criticized, but recently by a group of aldermen who wrote Johnson a letter last week asking him to scrap the limits out of concern over the health and safety of new arrivals, particularly in the winter. You know what? All of these aldermen who are doing that are Hispanic. And even though it's wrong and really illegal, I can understand their loyalty to their people. I only wish the black aldermen and older women had as much loyalty to the black community in Chicago as the Hispanic aldermen and women have to their community, who are, mind you, not their constituency because they're not citizens. Just keep that in mind. Just keep that in mind. It says conditions at some shelters have also been the spotlight, including after the death of a young boy living at a shelter who suffered a medical emergency in December. So Johnson's extending this and all of that. Okay, so that's what's going on with that. So then you get the city council. Boy, let me tell you. So remember the white dude who was opening his buildings up illegally and allowing them to be there, illegally? He was there. So we're going to play what he had to say. Hold on. Yep. Hold on. Look at this.
Involved in this, unbelievable. I've only been involved in this 13 days, and I cannot believe the amount of hate. I personally took in 448 migrants off the street in negative 14-degree weather because no one else would do it. I'm not getting paid one dime, nor would I take one dime. I do not want the people in my buildings any more than you want them in your ward. And I go to Alderman Mitchell, I go to Alderman and I ask, how could you help me? Where could we put them? They're not safe in Alderman Mitchell's ward. Okay, and I understand that.
Everybody's safe in our ward.
You hear that? I don't know if y'all can hear that, but she's like, they're not safe. And Alderman, forgot his name, Ward, they didn't have to come here. Sit up there like, hey, these conditions are bad. These people aren't safe. Who made them come here? They weren't forced here. They volunteered to come here. It is clearly, if they really are asylum seekers, it's clearly safer than where they've been. If they were really asylum seekers, that is, it would be safer than where they were. So they don't really have a right to complain if we're going to play that game. But this ain't their country. Why you sitting up there? They're not safe. They're not safe. Well, go home. Go home. That's where you can be safe at. Sitting up there, you can't get mad at the government for not prioritizing illegal aliens to come over here and quote unquote be safe.
Like I said, I'm not here to solve any problems. I'm here to help the children in the streets. And that is what I call the leaders on in this room to do. Stop focusing on hate. Stop focusing on solving problems that you know that you can't solve. And creating division. And speak love and preach solutions to getting children off the street.
Division.
Speaking... You hear this, dude? Stop this. Preach love and stop preaching division. Division between people who are illegally breaking into a country and people who are citizens of the country. Yes, there should be division. There should be division. And my thing is that this person, now, with all of the homelessness going on in Chicago, all of the blizzards and all of the freezing temperatures, never did anything. But all of a sudden, these migrants who don't have any rights, these illegal migrants who don't have any rights and don't have the ability to tell you no to anything you tell them to do. Okay, I'm not being accusatory. I'm just saying that this can happen. The illegal aliens who need a place to stay, they really don't have no rights. They can't tell you no. So that means anything you say goes, and you're allowing hundreds of them in there. It's not like you're some community activist who's always allowing homeless people, but just all of a sudden you just found Jesus apparently, and now you just want to allow all these people into your buildings. To me, looks kind of suspicious. I'm just going to be honest. I don't know. That looks kind of suspicious. What is your real intention of that? But brothers and sisters, we have, if y'all thought that was something, y'all, brother, check this out. Check this one out. Okay, so you had a Hispanic up here. Look, I'm gonna tell you that they've been watching and listening. That was supposed to play. They've been watching and listening to what we've been saying. Listen to this.
I will say, in terms of Brandon Johnson saying the Soul Chicago is the history of immigration that we had in this city. Even when the indigenous people were here, Chicago was a trading post, and we had different tribes and nations.
Before we do that, we got another 100 subscribers, so we need a whole bunch of 100 emojis in the chat room. Brothers and sisters, we got to get those 100 emojis in the chat room. That's really going to help get the channel's reach out there. So everybody got to flood it with 100 emojis, the 100 thing emojis, just the same way we did. So we got to get that rolling so I can finish playing this video, because y'all won't believe what this man said. I was so glad I was here to actually catch this. Thank you. We got the 100 emojis rolling in. I see y'all pressing the button on the thing. Check this out. Listen to this. First off, the Chicago is a city of immigrants. No. You all are really not immigrants. You breaking into a country illegally. You're not really immigrants. You can't be immigrants illegally. That's not how the word works. It don't work that way. Listen to this.
Chicago is the history of immigration that we had in this city. Even when the indigenous people were here, Chicago was a trading post. And we had different tribes and nations. Ojibwe, Potawatomi, Miami tribes, and many more. We have diversity today, and let's accept that. In the name of Harold Washington, the greatest mayor of the city of Chicago,
Now they keep bringing up Harold Washington because he was the first black mayor of Chicago. So now what they're trying to do, ladies and gentlemen, what they're trying to do is now they're trying to blacken up the whole immigration and migration thing. Now they're trying to be all like, well, you know, Harold Washington, he was black, and we're all really black. If y'all think he stopped at Harold Washington, y'all just wait till y'all see what he really says.
he made the city a sanctuary. No. So he can live here. So they can live here. And he knows what is the effect of the Fugitive Slave Act of 1850 that denied free.
Now you see how they're using the Fugitive Slave Act. You see how he's using that and tying the Fugitive Slave Act into illegal immigrants breaking into a whole nother country and freeloading off of our government. And he's bringing up the Fugitive Slave Act and trying to make some connection that isn't there. Listen to it.
The Fugitive Slave Act of 1850 that denied free black folks to come to the north. He knew this is the same thing we're doing to people who are surviving. Who are surviving Venezuela because of the 3 sanctions imposed by Trump and Obama, and that is why they're living hardship right now with no food, medicine coming in. Know the history. White folks, white supremacy is laughing right now because they see us fighting.
This man said white supremacy is laughing right now because they see us fighting. So this man is pro-black. This man is talking about white supremacy, the Slave Act. Notice how our talking points have gotten out. They will never admit this, but our talking points have gotten out to the ether so much. You're seeing other groups of people trying to talk about quote unquote white supremacy now. Y'all go back to your own country and deal with your own things, deal with your own problems. But they're breaking in here. They're committing crimes in this very city, which we will get to. We're going to get to that. But they're breaking in, they're committing crimes in this city. He's bringing up, well, Harold Washington and the Fugitive Slave Act, and this is really about white supremacy, and we got this common enemy of white supremacy, and we have to fight it together as brothers and sisters in the black and the brown. That's what he's not even done. He's not even done. Let me let him finish.
We need to work together. We need to work together. I will say, with love, sir, with love, please. No. I love you. So,
you don't have to love me.
I will say, in terms of that 5-year-old who passed away,
I love me.
where is the money going? We spent millions of dollars, and why can't we take care of that 5-year-old boy? Right? We need to act with humanity. In the name of Mayor Washington, who puts this, who understood what solidarity is. And I will say that we are here to share this voice, to welcome those Venezolanos, because she...
Okay. I don't... After you see, I love you. I love all of this stuff he's talking. These people are using our grievance shamelessly. Using our grief. Now, if you notice earlier in the video, early in the live, when I was talking about Palestinians being at Chicago City Hall and what they're doing and how they're bringing up our grievance and they're using our grievance, our rightful grievance in this country that belongs to us, they're bringing that up and then they're saying, well, what about us too? This is all about us together. do you know how disrespectful, how utterly disrespectful it is to compare the Fugitive Slave Act, which is to say if a slave was free and was freed, one, or ran away, that a slave master, it was really for a slave who ran away, but they did it with free slaves as well. If a slave was up there in the North or in another state, really a random white person would be able to walk up there and say, hey, that's my slave. You got to give him to me. He belongs to me. He's my property. And they would turn whether he was a freedman or whether he was a slave who just ran away, they would turn him in to the white man who just claimed that he owned that black person. Do you know how disrespectful it is to compare that grievance to other people who are voluntarily breaking federal laws by illegally crossing the border? And how you know they're illegally crossing the border is not rocket science, but how you know they're illegally crossing the border, because if they were legally crossing the border, they would have documentation, they would have paperwork, they would have work visas. Notice when other immigrants immigrate to America, they can start working damn near immediately because they already have paperwork, because they went through the paperwork process. These people are not going through the paperwork process, which means it's not legal for them to be here. They have not been approved to be here. So these people are breaking into this country and just freeloading off the government, and you saying the government, who's already given millions of dollars over the course of the last few years or so, prioritize them over all other people. You're saying the fact that the government isn't doing more for them is similar to the Fugitive Slave Act and how we're all in this big boat together. That's what they're saying. That's what they're saying. That's disrespectful. That is so disrespectful. Now, to follow up with their disrespect, check this out. Now, you guys remember this? This clip went like super viral on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all over the internet. I was actually there. You can look, I'm the guy with the vest. I don't know if you guys have seen it enough times, but that was me walking, and I saw them arguing. A lot of people were standing up and looking like it was about to, looking like it was about to get real. So, you know, I was kind of walking over to where I saw people standing up and looking like they was about to start, you know, disagreeing. But listen to this.
Money for you. You working. No more money for you. Bye bye. Go back across the No more money for you.
This man is sitting up there advocating for the Chicago government to give them free money. Mind you, these people is thousands, tens of thousands of them over here, and 90% of them are not working. So who are you talking about free money? Who's getting free money?
It's lazy. You're lazy.
He said you're lazy.
You're lazy.
Bro, tens, brothers and sisters, of thousands of them over here they're not working, they're not contributing to the economy, they're not doing anything productive to society at all. They're just freeloading, and these people have the audacity to call us lazy because we're saying our government that we pay taxes to needs to start properly and legally allocating the funds to the citizens of this land. So Miss Jackson, that's her name. Salute to Miss Jackson. She has something to say the next time. Okay, come on.
clear up a video.
Now I put a small amount of this on Twitter, but this is the full thing.
To clear up a video that I was on that was going around, where it's an immigrant that's here in City Hall that called us lazy. It's going around the internet where he's saying, you lazy, no more money for you, no more money for you. Oh. It's going all around the internet.
Viral.
And I'm the woman that he was talking to.
Sure was.
Oh my God.
I want to clear it up. I ain't never been lazy. In fact, I'm a 30-year degree retired accountant.
Hello.
I was educated at some of the best universities in the United States of America.
All right.
My mother paid cash for me to go to Howard University.
All right now.
I didn't leave with
Bring it
student
on.
loans.
All right.
I own property.
Okay.
So Vasquez, Lopez, Rosa, DeLeon, get your people. Set them straight. They need to know who they talking to.
They don't come in this country.
Lazy is crossing the border, begging for money.
Why did it stop right there? Okay, it stopped right there. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna actually go to Twitter to play it because my video is cut short for whatever reason. So I'm gonna go to Twitter right here, pull it up, and play it from Twitter. Okay, when I find it, because y'all was hold on, don't know what happened with that. But she said lazy is crossing, which is what they're doing, which is exactly what they're doing. Crossing the border, begging for money, talking about, man, why y'all gotta help us? Y'all gotta help us. Come on, y'all not giving us enough money. Enough. Y'all, we already had so much. Now this was him talking about them being lazy.
They need to know who they talking to.
Come in this country.
Lazy is crossing the border, begging for money. Lazy is sitting up here acting like you're an asylum seeker when the only thing you're doing is running to another country, standing on the plight of black people, using our laws, using our plight, using our issues to get ahead. That's lazy. Lazy is sitting up here breaking into abandoned buildings to live in. They need to know who they talk.
Now, we just went through the whole abandoned building thing. We went through that. All right. You want to talk about somebody being lazy when we're literally the ones providing for because to be very honest, it's not like these people are doing anything. Tens of thousands of them are living here for free, being provided for free. And the government is going to put out a big package, and we're going to get into that. I want to play the clips first, but the government is Chicago government is about to roll out a pretty decent package just to take care of them some more. All right. But you want to talk about people being lazy when we're the ones, first off, who built the country in the first damn place, to be very honest with you. And then number two, we're the ones fueling the economy so you guys can even come here. There would not be a Chicago had it not been for us working, paying the taxes so the government can give you guys free stuff. Now, what's interesting about this whole thing is that you will have people who will call Black Americans lazy, say we're welfare recipients and we get handouts and welfare queens and things like that. And they'll say things like, what's that? Another one, affirmative action. And why don't y'all just get a job? Notice thousands of illegal Hispanics are coming over here. And nobody is sitting up there saying, well, you guys need to stop asking for a handout. You guys need to get a job or go back to your own country. You guys need to do this. Notice that narrative that gets put on us about being welfare queens, about us begging for a handout, about the government providing for us. Notice that narrative is not being put on them. They are getting nothing but sympathy, and they're not doing anything to deserve it. Nothing at all, period. All right. But let's continue because I got more clips. Now this was Mr. Blakemore he got up there.
I'm Mr. George Blakemore. Sir, I'm not saying
Speaking of which, shout out to Mr. Blakemore. Shout out to Mr. Blakemore. That day, this day, right here.
For you.
That was a month or two ago. Mr. Blakemore was actually arrested. I didn't know that. I remember talking to you guys about it, that they kind of had him pinned up and they escorted him out of the building. I didn't know they actually charged. Vasquez requested that he was charged and arrested. So I talked to him. I got his information. I got his number. We're going to do an interview soon. I'm going to be going to his court date and everything, but he is arrested for really advocating for his own people in his own land, in his own city. He was charged and arrested while they're allowing anybody and everybody to go up there and protest without any interruption, without even being told to stop. The police are allowing all of these other people to wild out, to scream, to shout, to threaten other people without being told to stop. But they arrested Mr. Blakemore because they cut his time short and he was upset with that. So you know. But let's hear what he has to say.
Black Lives Matter. These illegal, undocumented, new arrivals are getting resources that the blacks have never gotten, or what, I want to speak correct English. Resources, millions of dollars. How many times have you been arrested, Mr. Blakemore, for peddling? Oh, thousands of times. And they say, get off of Michigan Avenue, you can't sell over here by Jill Donna. These illegals are selling everywhere. Everywhere. And they don't have no work permit. So
that's true. Listen, and I gotta pause it right there because how many videos have we seen of black children literally just selling water, selling lemonade outside? They got a little cooler or a little stand outside, and the police, we have literally seen police put kids in handcuffs because they don't have a permit to be selling Gatorade and water bottles outside, because you need a permit to be selling that stuff. They will literally charge and arrest a black kid for doing that. And we've seen it time and time again, where if they come, they're not even going to just like go by, and if somebody calls them, then they go and check. They will literally, if they see you selling something, they're going to come up. Do you have a permit to be here? Are you supposed to be here? I don't think you are. So let me see your information. They have done that multiple times. These Hispanics, most of them don't have the permits for that. They don't. And they get left alone. Okay. Well, they tell us how we need to pull ourselves up by our bootstraps.
I want to address black people. Something is wrong with us. To let another people come over and get ahead of us.
Yes.
Something on the plantation. What did the master make? It started with an end. We got to purge ourselves of this and become strong black men and women. You waited for me where you can steal from me. You steal the joy from us. We've been here, enslaved here. None of these people have ever been enslaved here. None of them, man. None of them. And we don't know their name. We don't know if they're pedophile, killers, or stealers, or drug addicts. We know nothing about them. Nothing about them. So I know one thing, they're not the cream of the crop of Venezuela. That's right. Oh, they're not the engineers and doctors and lawyers and chemists and education of Venezuela. You know what happened to black.
I'm gonna be. That's another point. Let me just pause it. Let me just pause it for that, because that point needs to be brought home. He's like, that's correct. These people are not the cream of the crop of their homeland. They're not the doctors. They're not the lawyers. They're not the engineers. They're not anything special where they are. Okay, these are losers. These are, can we say it? Can we say it? Because if they were not losers, they wouldn't have to leave. If they were doctors and they had property and they had stuff going good for them and they had businesses all over the place, they wouldn't have to leave. Why are they leaving? They're leaving because they have nothing, because they have no real skills. If you allow them to do work over here, anybody can cut grass. And you saying that? I'm saying that. I'm saying this is Black History Month. Let's take the damn shackles off and tell the truth. Anybody can cut some grass. That doesn't take a degree or a skill. I've never ever seen a trade of somebody and they'd be all like, okay, well, this is this type of lawnmower, this is this type of lawnmower, this is this type of weed cutter over here, these are the poisons. They don't need that. Cut the grass evenly. Use the weed thing to get the weeds. Besides that, these people who are over here doing construction are doing it poorly because these people are not trained. This is gonna sound mean, but all of the ones you see being house cleaners, you don't need a degree to be a house cleaner. It's wipe. You don't need a degree to make a bed. You really don't. It doesn't take hard work to take some garbage out of a can and then put another bag in the can. It does not. These people don't have any. These people are really useless in their own country, because if they weren't, they wouldn't have to leave. They would not have to leave. Okay. But they're coming over here and now they're getting prioritized. This is why there are programs to get them trades, because they don't have any skills. So all of there's such hard-working people. Hard-working? What? I can make a bed. I make my bed every day. They're not harder than me. They don't work harder than me with that. I have a skill. They don't have a skill. I can cut grass. I can make a bed. What can they do that I can't do? What can they do that we have not been doing better than them? So these are really hardworking people. They just need a chance. No, they don't. Because if these were hardworking, upstanding people, they would be valued in their homelands, so they would not have to leave. They have to leave because they have no value in their homelands. Let's just tell the truth. Let's just tell the truth. They have no value in their homelands because they have no skills. They can't do anything. They have no money, no education, no nothing. So they have to leave and get a second chance that the American government is providing them. Can we just tell? If I am wrong, somebody tell me I'm wrong. Somebody show me I'm wrong if I'm wrong.
People, when we was on the plantation, they got the indentured servants. This time, they're letting out all their criminals, all their millions. You're lying. How do you know they're not?
Oh, and we got proof that they are letting their criminals out. That's why you guys need to stay here, because we're going to prove that later on. Y'all stick with us. Stick with us, because we're going to prove it.
Okay, you don't know if her name is Isabella or Carter. You know nothing about them.
You don't even know if the kids
you
they
don't
bring
know
over belong.
nothing about them. That's right.
And that's another good point. They talking about all of these kids, and look at the kids. You don't know whose kids they are. They might have kidnapped those kids. You can't prove that that's that person's baby. You really can't prove that. It sounds mean. It does. It does sound mean. The truth sounds mean. It really does, brothers and sisters. It really does. But is she wrong? Is she wrong? Can they not prove? They can't prove that. You don't know who these people are. All right. And then we have another sister, Prosperity. She came up there to speak. I want to show her speech as well.
I've noticed that a lot of Latino caucus, you all stand together, I give you that. But what about your black caucuses? Where are you all at when it's time for coming for and protecting our neighborhoods, the things that are going down within our neighborhoods? So I'm gonna go with this $150 million that's been appropriated for illegals. I'd like to know where that money at that I came down here and talked about on December 14th for the west side and the south side community. Still waiting on that, still waiting. Haven't seen nothing yet on that. Vasquez, I got something for you. Let's just get to the statement that you made in your press conference. They don't want to face that frustration, fear, and ignorance that they're hearing from the constituents. When we're talking about the sanctuary city, I want to add that part. Let's put that question on the ballot is what they said. Let's point that energy somewhere else because I want to make sure I remain in my seat. Yeah, he said that about all the rest of you aldermen that don't stand up for what they want. So that's a problem because you said it. It's press. I go back and look at videos, verbatim. So let's talk about that. Now, I also had something for your mayor, but since he's not here today with his scripture quote and thump himself, we'll go beyond that, okay? Because when we talk about iron, sharpening iron, you all that know the scriptures, you'll know about iron sharpening iron, and that iron sure not taking place in the right places. So I'm gonna talk on that one another time. This blueprint for creating a more and just vibrant city for all, where is that?
Now, she talked about, and that's why I played her last, she talked about a blueprint. Now, when these things happen, Johnson's never there. Johnson's never there for those things. He don't want that smoke, but he's never there for those things. Now, let's get into the new plan that they're talking about, because what is this new plan and what is going on? So before we get into it, this is it's difficult to read. I literally took a picture of the screen when I saw it, so it's really difficult to read. So I'm gonna read it for you all. Y'all can screenshot it and maybe zoom in if you need to, but it says approved documents as of 1/23. It says work permits. Now these people have already given work permits. Okay, 1,031 work permits have already been given. All right, at the top bar. Social security cards. These people have received 951 social security cards. When they have their social security cards, when they have their work permits, then they have their IDs, then they have all of these things. These people are then going to get the right to vote. These people are illegal because these people have only been here for a couple years. These people are illegally expediting the process of citizenship, the process to become a citizen. So they're hurrying up and giving them work permits. They're hurrying up and giving them social security cards. Now, they want to do it a lot faster than what they're doing now. They really can't because there's so many of them coming over here. So they're having a difficulty maintaining that, but they are. Almost 1,000 social security cards. You don't even know these people. These people are not asylum seekers. You don't know them. And we're going to get to the criminal class that they're allowing to come over here, which is how you know they don't know them. But then they says workforce development. This is something specifically for them. Now, when it comes to black people, they say, well, black and brown and black and people of color and black and minorities and black and disenfranchised community. And you can't just have anything specifically for black people. That's just not the way the government works, except with everybody else, don't you know? It says new arrivals. I know it's hard to read. It says new arrivals receiving their EAD documents are given a flyer with information to connect them to workforce development and employment services through a partnership involving the American Job Center. So these are people literally giving, it's essentially like a temp service for them. While they're sitting up there like, these people, they just want to work and this is what this is about. Now, all around the country, the most unemployed people, because this is deliberate and this is systematic and strategic and maintained to be this way, the most unemployed people percentage-wise are Black Americans in this country. But when these people come over in the course of a year or so, because some of these people are very new arrivals, like they arrived a few months ago, these people are being expedited not only into citizenship, but also the workforce as well, too. Now, in the second bullet point, it says, Adult Employment Research Fair, Chicago Cook Workforce Partnership, CCW, is hosting an adult resource fair on February 14th, connecting them with job resources, resume support, and interview coaching. Subsequent hiring fair scheduled on March 19th. So that means on 14th, they go for their interview. On 19th, they start working. They're rushing the process. Listen, do you know how outrageous this is? Can you imagine us as Black Americans going to another country illegally by the tens of thousands? And just in Chicago, I'm speaking. By the tens of thousands. And then you have their government allocating funds that belong to the citizens of that city. But for the criminals that are coming over, the foreign national criminals that are coming over here and talking about, we need to provide them jobs. Jobs where? Where are all these jobs at? Because when Black people say we need jobs, y'all like, well, I mean, y'all just, there's McDonald's, you know, you guys just need to find a job. You can't expect a handout all the time. Just pull yourselves up by your bootstraps, go out there and just find this magical job. Just find a job. Now, with them, they don't get treated like that. With them, they don't get talked to like that. With them, they're all like, well, we understand it's difficult, so we're pretty much going to just give you a job. How about that? How about, you know, after we, you know, get you settled in and accustomed to the food and accustomed to the music and the culture and everything like that, how about we make you a resume, coach you on the interview, and then hire you on the spot? And then in less than a week, you can start working. How about we do you like that? While they tell us that they can't do anything specifically for us in this country, and we just need to pull ourselves up by our own bootstraps, and we need to work harder, and we need to get off welfare, and we need to get off employment assistance, and we need to get off all of these things, and how we're lazy and how we rely too much on the government. Is this not the definition of relying totally, absolutely on the government? Mind you, this is in February. That's 2 weeks from now. So that means they're just freeloading for 2 weeks. Not only the adults, but the youth as well. It says Youth Skilled Trades Fair. Chicago Public Schools, CPS, the same CPS that doesn't teach Black children anything, the same CPS that is a school to prison pipeline for Black kids, specifically young Black boys. But CPS is organizing a youth skilled trade. The key word is trade. It might be difficult to see, but they're giving them trades. Like I said, they don't have any trades. These aren't skilled workers coming over here. So that's why they're providing them trades, free trades. Now, they're not sitting up there opening the floodgates for free trades for FBA. They're not doing that. You got to pay for a course. You got to pay for a class. You got to pay to go to school. You got to pay to get a skill and then hope to get a job. They're saying, we're going to allow your youth to come over. All of this is free. All you got to do is just show up. When you show up, we're going to teach you what we need you to do. We're going to pay you while we teach you. And then when you get done learning, then we're going to give you a job. That's what they're doing for them. So let me start it over. It says Chicago Public Schools, CPS, is organizing a youth skilled trades fair with strategic efforts to engage new arrival youth, offering them insight and opportunities in various skilled trades. This is the definition of preferential treatment, brothers and sisters. This is preferential treatment through and through. This is absolute preferential treatment. Then at the bottom, it says an employer-focused webinar for Illinois HR professionals, hiring managers, business owners, and diversity and inclusion. What is that word? Hold on, I gotta. Advocate. Sorry, the print was real. Advocates is scheduled on February 8th. The event is hosted by CCW, the Illinois Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity, the Illinois Department of Employment Security, and Temp Partnership for Refugees. So all of these people are coming over here, getting all of this stuff specifically for them, specifically for new arrivals. And we are sitting up here not getting anything, but told that we're like the other dude. Now, hold on. Now, with them getting that, and then you look at this video right here, this dude got the audacity. Hold on.
It's lazy. You lazy.
Oh, don't this after I just read that. Isn't that video, this video right here, doesn't it make you even more upset? Doesn't this video have much more weight to it? The fact that this is literally what the government, our government that we created, because we created the whole government, our government that we created in the country that we made, the government that we're paying for is doing. And this dude, this Mr. Fat Lopez over here is sitting up there talking about, go home, you're lazy. You lazy. And this is what the government is doing for them specifically. And when they do it, these people are going to be provided with trade of their choosing. They're going to say, hey, you got this, and this. What do you want to do? They're going to pick something. They're going to get paid. They're going to get fed. They're going to get trained. Then they're going to get a job. And then they're going to look back at us who never got any of those resources and say, we came over here with nothing. And look at what we did. We came over here with absolutely nothing. You all are lazy. If I can make it, why can't you make it? That's literally what they're going to say. The government is literally handing them everything on a silver platter. And when they're done eating, they say, well, I ate. Why can't you eat? It's get it. Why don't you just get it how you live? We did. Y'all just lazy. That's what it's looking like to me. That's literally what they're going to say. But not only are they lazy, they're also criminals. Look at this. Now, I know it's going to be difficult to see, so I'm going to read it as well, too. But it says, total incident report has been filed, all right? Look at the total incidents, then look at the incidents closed, then look at the total incidents in progress. In progress. All right? Over 100,000 total incidents. Now, in the columns you see down here, they have curfew violations. That's the grayish. It looks kind of grayish in this picture. That's the grayish column. Health and wellness. That's the yellow one. Code violation. Code of conduct violation. That's the orange one. Unattended children, that's the kind of reddish one. And then another one, I think this says curfew or something like that. I can't really see it. So they're coming over here. What about the kids? What about the kids? What about the kids? And they're just abandoning the kids. If you probably can't see this number says 818. 808, or that might be a 15, 818 or 15 cases that they know of them just abandoning their children. While they're coming over here, there's kids sleeping on the floors, man. What are we gonna do? And they're just like, okay, well, thanks for the resources. I'm gonna go out here and, sell drugs or steal from Macy's or something like that. You just take care of yourself, little Javier. And they just leave the kid there. Now, I've been saying for a minute that these people have been coming over here and committing crimes. I've been calling it. I want you to see how I've been calling it. Let me take this off the screen so y'all can see this. Y'all remember this? They let the person who get caught with the bag, like this dude over here, he gets caught red-handed, and they don't really ask any questions about it. And I keep thinking, like, a lot of this stuff doesn't seem like one or two people are coming over here and they are just going to these alleged specific places, and they keep going to the same places. They keep going to Oak Brook. They keep going to Macy's. They keep going to these places. That's just really odd. You got to be smart enough to notice when something is a pattern. When something is a pattern, and when something is a pattern, you need to look at it as if it is a pattern. When something keeps happening in a specific order, when coincidences keep popping up in a very uniquely specific order, where it seems like multiple people can benefit, but only a few people are getting caught and punished. It's seeming like, and remember last year we reported the judges are letting them go a lot of times. Judges can be bought too. Now, of course, all of this is alleged. Of course, it's all alleged, but let's be honest. The judges just give them bonds, have the reconnaissance bonds, which means you're free to go. 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 It seems like the judges might be in on it. The police might be in on it. Now, as of right now, I'm stating right now, today is January 18th, 2024. We have no proof of this. So this is theory. Now, I said that then. I said we had no proof January 18th. But it didn't take that long for there to actually be proof. Check this out, y'all.
Sheriff's Department in Maywood this morning. All of them recovered last week as part of an undercover investigation into an unusual pattern of downtown retail thefts that has been emerging over the last 9 months.
The vast majority.
Have I not been saying that? Have I not literally been saying that, hey, this is seeming a little bit that I literally said on the 18th, and they're just getting to this. I literally said, these people, I've been documenting the crimes that they've been committing for over a year. And I've said, you know what? These people is just too much of a coincidence for these people to keep going to the same places with the same IDs and the same judge. Now, they're still not going to go as deep as the rabbit hole could really go. But I've been calling this, I've called this out. And I was like, you know what? This is seeming like it's a little bit too well orchestrated to be a coincidence. And then look at what you see. Look at what you see. I knew it. I knew it.
Majority of them were from Venezuela.
Venezuelan migrants, who according to Sheriff Tom Dart, are being used by criminal organizations to engage in small retail thefts in exchange for fake social security cards, driver's licenses, or green cards.
Some of the people we have taken into custody.
Now, with that being said, remember in the beginning, that's why I told you guys in the very beginning, it was important for you guys to watch the whole thing the whole time through. Remember in the beginning with the white dude who was all like, I just let him in because it's the right thing to do, dude. And I expressed my free will, man. And I did it right. Remember that? And I said, That's a little odd. That's odd. Why? What benefit would it be for you to allow all these people to come over here? So let's just connect the dots a little bit. Even though we're still theorizing, let's connect these dots. So there are landlords, because he's not the only one. He's not the only one. But there are landlords allowing them to stay in their facilities for the deal of you break into stores, you come back with the merchandise, and we'll give you fake IDs. You know, it seems like I'm saying, it seems like it's a whole lot of orchestrated things. It seems like, because you got to think, you buy or you break into a store, a Macy's, and you steal a $500 coat. You are not going to sit up there and sleep on the police station floor with a $500 coat on. You wouldn't do that. You wouldn't do that. Maybe you can get away with like some shoes, possibly. But if you steal, and they've been stealing coat, jewelry, all that. If you steal a $2,000-$3,000 necklace, you're not gonna wear it. You steal a $1,000 coat, you're not gonna wear it. So what are you gonna do with it? Who are you going to give it to? What is the exchange for this? Okay. So now let's just connect the dots a little bit. It's seeming like, okay, you got people allowing you to stay in their place, but maybe in return, you can't say no. Hey, I need a new coat. I need a new watch. You do that, I'm gonna allow you to stay in my place. Like a whole little criminal enterprise that a lot of people are benefiting from. It's starting to, the dots are starting, you're starting to get more dots so you can draw the lines and start fixing the picture with this. All right, let's continue though.
They have told us they were literally directed on what to steal, how much to steal that would get you this ID and that ID.
Unlike several of the high-profile thefts at luxury stores that have made headlines, most of these thefts, says the Sheriff's Department, are of low-cost items. It was one such incident earlier this month that led investigators to these three men, who they say were the ringleaders of this particular operation. Handwritten records of each fake ID sold and the price for which they were sold were also recovered.
Most of the people we're talking to on this are people absolutely looking for this ID to get a job.
An attorney.
And you see, look, you see he's still kind of soft shoeing. Most of these people are still looking for a job. They're breaking the law. See, he's still kind of soft shoeing a little bit, still having sympathy. He's speaking on people who are breaking the law because they're not supposed to be over here. If they were supposed to be over here, they would have the documents to get an ID. The only reason that they need a fake ID, which is illegal, okay, the only reason why they need a fake ID is because they're not supposed to be here. So they're breaking the law twice over, and he's all like, they're just trying to get a job.
With the National Immigrant Justice Center, Anisha Gandhi is among those helping migrants who qualify to fill out their asylum and work authorization requests. She says while there's no automatic penalty imposed by immigration authorities on those caught using fake documents, they could still face criminal consequences.
There's not really any other option for them, as the government hasn't made it easy for them to get work authorization in a time.
Now, look at the media trying to put a little spin on it. I mean, there's really no option for them. The government has not made, no, we're not going to do that. We're not going to do that. We're not going to sit up there, and they've been caught stealing for really over a year. And I'm not just talking about Macy's. I'm talking about breaking into cars, just robbing people, mugging people, stealing cars, all of that stuff. We're not going to be like, I mean, but you have to understand, they just want a job. They just want a fake ID, and you got to have some sympathy. No, we don't. Had these been black people, now when they arrest black people, especially black males, when they arrest black males, it's never this, well, you got to understand he couldn't get a job and there was no place hiring, and you got to keep the lights on and you got to keep food on the table, so you have to understand why he stole that coat, you have to understand why he stole those shoes. They don't do that. It's always, if you guys only had fathers in the house and it's something wrong with your culture, and it's probably all that hip-hop music that you guys constantly keep listening to. It's that hip-hop music. You don't have your dad, your mama's on crack, and you just live in a culture, and if you would know anything besides basketball and rap, you probably could get a job. That's how the media treats black people when anytime a black person steals something from a store, a convenience store, or a luxury store. But with them, it's like, oh, they just need a job, man. You gotta understand. I mean, they're criminals, and then they're criminals to come in, and then they're criminals to break the law, but they still need a job. And the government is not making it easy for these criminals to get a job. Now, as a black person, if you commit a felony, you go to prison. Even if you don't commit a felony necessarily and go to federal prison, if you go to state prison, you get a felony, you go to state prison or anything, you come out, there's no program for you to get reacclimated into society. You just come out and you're like, there you go, nigga. Figure it out. And if you can't figure it out, you just come back here. That's literally how they treat them. There's all of this abundance of sympathy that they're having for them. You got to understand, they're in the same video, the same news video that are catching them break the law. They're deliberately having interviews of people who are sympathetic to them. Just like the first one. In the first video, they're breaking the law by being on that property illegally, because even if he owns it, it's still not legal for him to have people living on that property. They're sitting up there having sympathy for them. So every time they break the law, it's, what you gotta understand the conditions that they put themselves through. You gotta have some. There's a baby though. You gotta have the sympathy for the baby. They do that all the time with them. Now with us, it's a culture problem. Your dad isn't there. Your mom's a crackhead hoe. You're lazy. Remember the Hispanic dude. He's like, you're lazy. You're not working hard. You're lazy. You're this. You need to stop listening to that rap music because that's not real music. You got to stop doing. It's a cultural thing. It's like we're inherently bad in our DNA, but with them, it's but they want a job. That's what they get. Let's finish it off.
Manner. Those arrested were charged with selling and manufacturing fake IDs. The Cook County Sheriff, however, telling us that he believes they represent just one of many criminal rings out there using migrants' desperation for profit.
Yeah, not really. No, it could be. It could be migrant desperation for profit. Could be, possibly. Possibly it could be. But on the other hand, though, they came up here. Nobody forced them to be here. And a lot of them came up here and they knew people who are here already. A lot of them are coming up here from prisons, from gangs, from their own country. A lot of them are. So it's not like, they're just so desperate. No, they're not really desperate. A lot of them are already criminally connected. They don't want to say that, though, but we've already reviewed that and documented that. A lot of them are already criminally connected. A lot of them already know people who are here. They're using their desperation. If they go home, if they go back home, they wouldn't be desperate. They wouldn't be desperate back home. Can't nobody do that so they can get a fake ID back home. They can get a real ID back home. But they're coming over here to get a fake ID here. So no, we're not giving you the desperate pass. We're trying to put food on the table. You can go home and put food on the table. Because that's what they would tell us. That's what they would tell us, to go home and put food on the table. You're not supposed to be here. That's what they would tell us. Now, this month, I was about to say next month, but this month, they're about to have a whole bunch of, which they've been having. And we've seen videos of them at little job fairs and things like that. They've been expediting the citizenship, the naturalization process, so they can become citizens in this country. They've been expediting that. Now they're essentially, they have a large enough thing. So now they're just telling the public, like, hey, tell your friend, your brother, your cousin, your mom, your dad to come up here. We're going to train you. We're going to get you a job. We're going to get the youth a job. We're going to do a whole bunch of stuff and make you guys are going to be great. You guys are going to be great with that. You know, we're going to provide for you. Now, we were supposed to kick you out, or you were supposed to at least be evicted and have to reapply within the first 60 days. But we decided we need to be more nice to you. So now we're going to extend the 60 days to another 60 days. So you really have 120 days so you can find a job and get an apartment or whatever the case is. And if you don't, you probably still can stay. Possibly, pretty much. You can just stay forever. Now, with black people, they don't treat black people like this. Notice the media does not treat black people like this. The sympathy for the media. Notice too, the right-wing media, the Fox News media, the alt-right media. Notice how they love to call us criminals. They love to point out anytime a black person got a mugshot out, that's their favorite thing in the world to notice. They love noticing that aspect. They love noticing that fact. But with them, this is a big scandal. Them with a whole orchestrated ring of fake IDs, that's a very big deal. Do we not understand? That's like a whole criminal enterprise, that they have somebody is out there making fake IDs. In order for the ID to even be effective at all, somebody has to be really on the inside, because that's the way fake IDs work. Somebody got to be on the inside to get kind of government information for the ID. So when they look up the ID, they can actually utilize the ID, because IDs come with a little thing, a barcode on the back. They can get a job not because they can get the fake ID, but the fake ID has to link to something. It can't just be a picture with your face on it. The ID has to also be verified. When you go to a place and you say, this is my ID, and they look up your ID in the computer has to come back with something. So somebody is going in like inside information on the government websites and putting in fake identification. Okay. So it's a whole criminal enterprise going on. And they're saying, you steal from Macy's, you come back over here, you give this. And let's be honest, they said they arrested them. Did they confiscate any of the stolen items? They didn't confiscate the stolen items. So where are the stolen items? Let's ask that question. What are they doing with all of the merchandise that they've been stealing for several months? Like, who all is involved in this? I'm gonna be very, very honest with you. The rabbit hole goes a lot deeper. It goes a lot deeper than what they're admitting to. And even when they admit that there is a rabbit hole, they're all like, yeah, there's a rabbit hole, but you still got to have some sympathy. Sympathy that they would never, ever, and they don't have when it comes to black people. They don't have that. Oh, boy. This is what we're dealing with. So when elections come up and they say we need to vote, we need to get out here and be patriots, we say, well, what are we voting for exactly? When they tell us this is important to have this stuff documented, because technically a video is documentation. So every time we do this, this is further documentation, because it's not just one clip here and one clip there and one clip there. I'm taking this clip here. I'm taking this article here. I'm taking my own footage that I film myself. I'm taking other bits of footages and I'm putting it together. So this live stream right here is documentation. So you can go back. This is documentation. So you can go back, and when they say, well, you know, you can't really do anything specifically for Black people. It has to be a Black and brown. It has to be minorities. It has to be for disenfranchised communities. You can't do it any other way. When you go back, you can look at this documentation and say, no, it doesn't. No, it doesn't, because you guys are saying specifically for new arrivals who are not legally able to be here, but disregarding the law, you are allowing them to do something, to get something tangible, to get some resources and opportunities specifically for them. Because it's not like this is just a program open for the public. It's not. It's specific for them. Anybody can't show up. If I showed up, not that I would need to, but if I showed up, they would turn me away. So it's specifically for them. So we're not going to allow them to say what is something can only be done for everybody when it comes to us, and how we should be grateful, because if you look at it a certain type of way, you do disproportionately benefit. No, because with their programs and with their assistance, they don't disproportionately benefit from anything. They solely, entirely benefit from everything. They don't get half a slice of pie. They don't get they don't get half of anything. They don't get most of anything. They get the whole damn thing. They get all of it. All of it. While they're telling us that we need to share, and that's the way the government works. So, okay. This is really the last leg for the Democratic Party. It really, really is. It's the Democratic Party is over. It's done. It's finished. Okay, it's through. But this also goes to show the competition, because race is a competition. The competition is getting fierce, brothers and sisters. It really is. It's getting tough out here. So this is why we need to stay together. This is why we need to focus on ourselves. We're not focused on Palestine and all that stuff going on in Gaza. We're not focused on that. We're focused on ourselves here, because nobody else is. We're looking out for our people here because nobody else will. It's up to us to look after one of each and one of each other. It's up to us. All right. This isn't going to be the end of Black America in Chicago. It won't be. As you can see, it doesn't take a lot of us. It just takes a certain amount of us who are powerful and willing to do the courageous work. Not just in Chicago, but also in New York. Shout out to New York, okay? Also in Denver, Colorado. Shout out to our brothers and sisters in Denver, Colorado. Also in Los Angeles. Also in America, period. It's up to us to look after one of each other. We're each and one of each other. The same way that white dude, I'm going to be honest, the same way that white dude was looking after the Hispanics is the same way we need to be looking after our people. Now, I'm not saying turn your property into a shelter. Not saying that at all. First off, that's not legal. Second of all, it's not really smart. But I'm saying the same way they're looking after each other is the same way we need to be looking after each other. Okay? They're going out their way to volunteer, giving coats, giving sandwiches, giving food. That's the same thing we need to be doing for our people. And not necessarily even just for the homeless, but just for the everyday Black man and Black woman who just needs something, who just needs some assistance, who just needs some help. There's volunteer work all over the place in different schools and different organizations. They got little coat boxes and stuff like that. You can put some gloves, you can put some hats, you can put some coats in there for kids. There's book bag. I was about to say book bag giveaways all the time, where kids who are going to school with book bags that they got from their parents' generation, they're going to school with really nothing. It's stuff we can do. Hold on for a Second. Sorry, I was getting a call. It's stuff that we can do for each other. It's up to us because the government's not going to do it. They're supposed to. They're not. Nobody else is going to do it for us. It's up to us to do that for each other. All right. Now, speaking of supporting and helping out, let me get to some of these super chats. All right. I want to give a shout out to Walter. Walter gave a $7 super chat. Thank you, Walter. Thank you, Jay Legend, for the $5 super chat. Appreciate you. Appreciate your support. Shout out to the coldest Jenkins for the first, because he sends another one. The first super chat, $5, says, I'm getting concerned about so many FBAs being off cold with this immigration thing. They're foolishly supporting us becoming a permanent underclass. A lot of them really are. A lot of them are. And to be honest, we're getting to the point where you can't just look at something and be like, I'm shaking my head at that. I would never do that. You need to address that. What he was doing, and he's talking about earlier in the broadcast when I was talking about the conversation I had with the brother about him defending Palestine. And I said, hey, you're defending them. These people would not defend you in any circumstance. Look at how Palestine treats black people. While black people want to be all like, man, what about the kids? Look at how Palestine treats black people. Before you do anything for anybody, look at how they treat black people. And it's specifically foundational black Americans when they're in their home country and when they come over here. Just look at that before you go out there and put the cape on, literally for anybody else. But that stuff needs to be addressed. And I'm not saying be violent. I'm not saying curse them out. I'm not saying do all of this stuff. But I'm saying, hey, like, what are you doing over there defending them when your people got problems? Okay? Because we can't allow the thing of, well, I'm going to just let them do them. No. Ain't no letting, because I'm going to be very, very honest. And I'm glad you brought that up, brother. I'm going to be very, very honest with you. If Palestinians saw that a Palestinian was sitting up there advocating for another group of people's issue while they have their own issue, they're going to get checked. They will get checked. If it was Palestinians, if it was Asians, if it was Arabs, if it was Hispanics, all of them. If in those city hall meetings, if a Hispanic person walked up and got the speaker and spoke on a black American issue, let's say, hypothetically, let's say a Hispanic or a Palestinian, either one, went up there on the mic, and instead of speaking on the issues that their people are facing, they said, I want to speak on behalf of Foundation Black Americans getting slavery reparations. I want to speak. I feel like they deserve it. I feel like it's owed to them. I feel like America needs to pay them for all of the harm that America has done to them and that America is doing to them currently. They would get their ass beat when they got home. And we all know it for a fact. They would get snatched off that microphone. Their people are not afraid to address off-code behavior. And I'm not saying beat any, I'm not saying that. I'm saying it is time, the same way I did and the same way the people around me were doing. It's time we address that. Why are you on the other side of the battlefield, brother or sister? Why are you what are you doing over there? Why are you not here fighting for your people here? Because they're not your people. Regardless of what side you want to be on, they're not your people. So why are you doing that? And I'm not saying drag them kicking and screaming, because you don't want an ally that you have to drag kicking and screaming. If they're on that side, let them be on that side. But we're going to have to get to the point where if you want to be on if you want to be on the opposition, if you want to be on the enemy side, you're not going to be there comfortably. You're not going to be there and we don't acknowledge it. You're not going to be there and we just ignore it. No, because other people don't do that. Other people have a culture of, if we catch you on enemy lines, you better make sure they keep you safe. That's their, man, can we be honest? That's their culture. Oh, we catch you hanging with the niggas, you a nigga lover, you better make sure them niggas keep you safe. You better make sure you don't come back over here then. That's how they get treated, for being a nigga lover. All right? And we over here like, let's just let them go. That's their business. No, you a pally lover, I guess, or immigrant. Okay, you over there. Don't come back over here. And I'm not saying we should threaten them. I'm not saying we should harm them. I'm just saying it needs to be addressed, their off-code behavior. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying threaten or harm. I'm not promoting any violence or anything. All right. The Coldest Jenkins sends another super chat, says he's the difference between elder and old niggas. Yeah, he is. Yes, he is. Absolutely. Okay. See, a lot of people feel like, and he's talking about Mr. Blakemore. Shout out to Mr. Blakemore. A lot of people feel like when you get old, you kind of just lose the fight. That's incorrect. That's absolutely incorrect. You don't ever lose the fight. The fight is either with you or it is not with you. You never just, I'm kind of just done. I was doing. No, if it's a trend that you were doing when you were young and you were doing because you really didn't have nothing to do and you were just this fiery rebel who wanted to fight for a good cause at the time because you wanted to be rebellious, then it's not really in you. You don't really lose the fight. Brother Blakemore, he's old. No offense, he's old. He didn't lose the fight. Dr. Claude Anderson is old. He's old and he's not even that well. I'm not trying to talk negatively on his condition, but he's not even that well. He faces illnesses. And he's still, when he has the chance to, is still speaking on behalf of what Black people need, on behalf of reparations, on behalf of making sure we delineate from other groups, other ethnic groups of people. Okay, making sure we focus on home. Our brother Neely Fuller Jr., he's in his 90s. I can give you people who keep fighting, who keep striving, despite them being old. Old age is not gonna stop. If salute to our brother Black Alpha, if you certified, old age is not gonna stop you. That's not gonna stop. That's not gonna take, because it's in the heart. It's not in the muscles. It's not you getting up out of bed and you physically fighting somebody. It's in the heart. It's in the spirit, in the soul. That doesn't fade away with old age. If it fades away, it was never truly there to begin with. Okay? It was never truly there. Do you know, and I posted a picture of our queen, Harriet Tubman, yesterday. Her and her husband and her daughter. Their daughter. Do you know she was working and advocating for Black people literally up until the day she died, and she died a very old woman? She wasn't like, well, slavery is done. I'm done. I did my thing. All of these people, when you talk about Harriet Tubman, when you talk about Frederick Douglass, when you talk about Ida B. Wells, when you talk about these people who were able to live and they didn't stop until they died. They made it to an old age and they continued to work. I'm not talking about folks who were assassinated at a relatively young age, like Fred Hampton or Martin Luther King or Malcolm X, who are relatively young. But I'm talking about people who made it to an older age. They didn't say, hey, I did what I could do. It's over with. I tried my best. I'm done. I put my work in, because it's in their heart. It's in their spirit, in their soul. They said, until I die, if there's work to do, I will do it. If there's something I can do, whether it's maybe not getting out there and being on the front lines, but if it's teaching a class, Dr. Frances Cress Wilson was teaching classes all the way up until she died. Even after she was kicked out of, I think it was Howard University. Okay. Even after that, working until she was an old lady, still giving interviews, still on documentaries, still speaking, still teaching. You don't lose the fight. Okay. It's not something you lose. It's either there or not there. That's it. It's black and white. It's either there or not there. If it was there temporarily, it was really not there. You were just a youthful rebel at the time. That's really what it is. Shout out to every single last one of you brothers and sisters for this. I think this is a really good way to start Black History Month off. It's a really good way, and I appreciate every single last one of you all. You all can be following me on my various social media platforms, which is Afro Elite on Instagram and then The Afro Elite on Twitter. All right. The links to both of those are in the description. Make sure you guys follow me on both those things in the description. Links to both. Also, before we leave, because this is going to be a thing that we're going on too. Before we leave, I need the chat room, because there's over 200, close to 300 people in this chat room right now. You guys need to flood this up with the like emoji. Put the thumbs up emoji. I need a whole bunch of the thumbs up emoji before we close, so we can have what they call, or it's a term I came up with, really, what we can is called interaction spikes. That's why I did the thing with 100 emojis. Every time we reach 100 subscribers, 100 more subscribers, we'll put the 100 emojis up. Right before we close, we all have to flood the comment section or the chat room section with the thumbs up emoji. These will create interaction spikes. When we have interaction spikes in a live stream or a video, that helps the algorithm reach more people. All right. It helps promote it on the timeline as well, too. So we need these algorithm spikes. So I appreciate every single last one of you all for being here and doing that. Got a lot of people in here, and I appreciate every single last one of you all. Yep. Oh, and we still, yeah, you can still use the For the Culture. I still see a lot of people using the For the Culture. You know, I still get comments on that For the Culture. I still get comments on that. You know, so I'm pretty sure Black Alpha, and I'm pretty sure ZZ gets comments on that too. So people loving the For the Culture thing. Can't asking me, when's the next one? When's the next one? So, yeah, thank you, man. We got a lot of these algorithm spikes up here, but this stuff is really going to help the channel. I want you guys to watch how this video blows up just because of these algorithm spikes right here. I almost don't want to close it because we're getting so many of them. But we got to organize the show. We got to have order. So I appreciate you, brothers and sisters. I sincerely, really do. We got to stick together because nobody else is going to help, but it's okay. Because we've always been by ourselves, and we've always survived, and we've always overcome. We've always persevered. So this is not new. This is something that we're just going to have to get up, bond together under the code, just not just linking up, but having an agenda, letting the code be the leader and us following the code. That's what it takes. That's what it is. Now, with that being said, first off, before we go, happy Black History Month, my beautiful brothers and sisters. Happy Black History Month to every single last one of you. All right. And now, with that being said, my brothers and sisters, B1 salute to every single last one of you all. You all have a good one.